Hello, everybody. I am Josh Greenway. We are at the 2017 North American SCRABBLE Championships in New Orleans, Louisiana. I am joined by Dr. Ken Rubin, my
Hello,
friend.
everyone.
Ken, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Josh. How are you doing?
I'm great. So you are playing in Division I.
That is correct.
And how's it going so far?
It's going well. It's good just to be here. This is my first time in New Orleans since 2004, which I believe was the last time the tournament was here. I think it's only fitting that after not playing in Nationals for 11 years, that I come back at this tournament. I have good memories of being here. Actually, 13 years ago in 2004.
And that was your last Nationals?
No. So
sorry.
I played in 2004, 2005, and 2006. So I played 3 years in a row.
And then you took 11 years off.
And then life happened and other work. And a lot of times I wanted to come back. I wanted to play, but didn't feel like I was up for it. But I saw New Orleans this year, and it seemed like the right time. I'm happy to be back. It's fun to be here.
So 11 years break. Does this have something to do with the fact that you're Dr. Ken?
It may, a little bit. When I started playing, I was very ambitious, like a lot of the young players, and we sort of, there are multiple generations in Scrabble, and after, I stopped playing, I think a lot of the newer players, in fact, the whole leaderboard at this tournament, Division I, is basically, I think, 28 and under, a lot of the younger players. But, I didn't want to play badly. I wanted to feel like I could study and play well, and I just got so busy. I still played Scrabble with friends, played for fun, but just didn't feel comfortable playing in a tournament.
Gotcha. So I'm trying to think of where we met. Like, we met relatively recently, right?
So I started playing again about 2 years ago, Labor Day 2015, and been playing in a few tournaments since then, and we met at some of those tournaments, I think. So still trying to work my way back into it, but today was a good day, so maybe we're getting there. We're getting closer.
What's your record?
I started poorly, but went 6-1 today. So now I'm 8-6. I believe I'm in 20th.
Hey,
Division
that's pretty good.
So yeah, no, I'm not complaining at all. Thrilled, actually.
Fantastic. And we've got a friend in common. I think that's how we met.
Who's our friend?
Joey the K.
Oh, of course, Joey Kraftshake, who himself is doing very, very well this
I think he's on top of the leaderboard for Collins, or
I
second,
would not
or
be
something
surprised.
like that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of energy. Good player.
For sure. So now let's talk about New Orleans. What's going around for this tournament tonight? We've got the musicale, which probably didn't exist in 2004.
No, it did not.
Because you weren't sure what the musicale was.
But 2004, just for the viewers, 2004, it was my first Nationals, but that's not important. It's important that 2004 was the most attended of all the Nationals. I think 850 people or so were there. ESPN was there. The venue was unbelievably big. It was so exciting. There's a lot going on. So that's notable for back then. And this time, though, there's a lot of stuff. We have the Twitch, and we have musicale and trivia and lots of other events. But really, I think it's good just to catch up with friends, people you know through Scrabble, and go out to dinner, hang out with them. That's what I like to do after hours. And also play. There's, the thing is for people who don't know Scrabble, you play Scrabble all day in a tournament, and what do you do at night? You play more Scrabble. That only seems fitting for Scrabble fanatics that we are.
For sure. And there's always the comparison made to that Nationals in 2004, which was undeniably an incredible event, over 800 players, as you said. But one of the things that's interesting is part of the reason that the numbers were so high back then is we were doing Nationals every other year until that year. So there would be this pent-up demand. So this year we have about 375 players, 370. But one of the things that I really enjoy is the fact that we have a Nationals every year because it's such a good showcase for our community, for top Scrabble play. And I just think NASPA is doing does a fantastic job with this tournament.
It's great. The staff, we were saying earlier, the staff is great, super supportive. Everything works well. I like the Nationals every year. I mean, if I wasn't playing, then it didn't matter for me so much. But it's such a big event. It's such a fun event. There's got to be a Nationals every year. They'll be like holding Wimbledon every 4 years. That doesn't make any sense. You got to do it every single year. Even no matter how many people attend it, it's a great event.
For sure. Tell me about your preparation for this tournament.
This is going to be the short part of the interview. Not very much. So I've been playing in more tournaments the last few years, as we said. I've been studying, trying to catch up on the high probability words, the 7s and 8s, look at some short words. When I was studying for nationals 10 years ago or more, I'd be studying, 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, playing and studying all the time. But again, it's hard to do that. So I would say my best preparation for this nationals is just coming in without any expectations, just excited to play and see what happens.
That's similar to how I played nationals last year in a much lower division, but I managed to walk away with a cash when I had absolutely no expectations. So
if you win any cash in Scrabble, you're doing well. So Josh, good job for you last year.
For sure. So let me ask you this: you are Dr. Ken.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your professional, life. Just because I always think doctors are. Interesting.
Well, full disclaimer. So I went to med school. That's when I actually stopped playing Scrabble on tour. I had to leave the tour voluntarily for med school. And since graduating, I haven't been practicing in the hospital. I've been doing more teaching, which we've talked about off camera. A lot of teaching, and I have a medical teaching business that I do, and I'm also working with a lot of younger students, high school students, also on the side. So that's my passion has always been teaching and working with people. But I have the knowledge. I have a lot of medical knowledge. We were just talking off camera for the crowd, if they're interested, about lumbagos and plumbagos. One of the other players, Dan Wachtel, who may get on here at some point, he had lumbagos, and then he almost extended it to plumbagos, which apparently is a flower. This is the kind of thing we're talking about all the time. Our minds are swimming with words, and when you're here, everyone is like you. So that's very fun.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about the community is we all have this thing in common, and it's a real interesting thing. It's a lot of people have tried to sort of pin down, okay, are we going after this particular demographic? Are we going after this age group? Are we going after this kind of group of people? And I always think there's something in our brains that connects with this game, whether it's trying to figure out a puzzle, whether it's sort of the competition or whatever, and it's about figuring out what that is, and it's the thing that almost everyone in the playing room shares, and it's the commonality. It's that connection.
It's about words too. I mean, you'll hear sometimes people say, "Oh, we don't care about the meanings of the words; they're just tiles." One thing I learned in 2004 on my first nationals when we were here in New Orleans was that you didn't have to speak English. This is one of the most shocking things for me watching. I remember walking into the game room and seeing all the Thai players, Pan Yupan and maybe 7 or 8 other players, and trying to talk with them and realizing they don't really speak English very well. And so you hear tournament Scrabble is really not about the words, but I think a lot of the players here really like words. I think we all have an affinity for words in our own way. And whatever else draws us to the game, the strategy, the competition, the math component, all that is true. But I think we all like the words too.
For sure. Well, look, this has been great. Oh, I wanted to show one other thing. One of the things that's special about playing in New Orleans, in addition to what you said, that we had the big one back in 2004, is over the last, I think it's 6 years, there's been a local New Orleans tournament every January.
Yes.
And it is a fantastic tournament. It's run by Lila Crotty and some of her family and the amazing Kate.
And it gets some of the best players, right? A lot of really great players come.
For sure. Now, there have been some traditions that have come along from that tournament that have been borrowed by the Nationals.
Oh,
now
like
that
what?
The Nationals has returned. Well, number one, they provide a lunch option of food trucks. They bring in different kinds of food trucks
here
every lunch hour. I haven't had a chance to go see them.
We went yesterday in the pouring rain.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was wet. It was very wet. But it was good. It was good. There are 3 trucks out there. I think it's I mean, there's so many places to get food, but it's nice that their trucks are there. And they're for us. They're for the Scrabble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
for
mean,
sure.
Having Scrabble dedicated food trucks, that's pretty special. I think it means you made it.
And then there's one other touch from that tournament that's been borrowed here. And that is, and I'm not exactly sure what the tradition is, but there are custom fortune cookies that are put together.
I had no idea.
Yes.
How do we get these? How do I
So
get some of
at
these?
registration, you would have, in theory, been told, hey, go grab a fortune cookie.
I
But
see.
I've got a fortune cookie for you right here that I want you to open on air and see what the fortune is.
Well, I've been playing Scrabble all day and haven't eaten anything, so this is going to be good.
So let me hold the mic. Why don't you open it up, because we don't want to hear the plastic crunching on the mic. And I want you to take out the fortune and read the fortune. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. What does your fortune say, Dr. Ken?
It says, you will win games and you will lose games. Oh, wait, no, that's not what it says. Okay. It says, creativity can solve almost any problem. The creative act, the defeat of habit by originality overcomes everything, by George Lucas. Or we know this is George Lois. This is George Lois, advertising visionary. Do we know George Lois?
No, I don't know who that is. There's
Okay.
a tradition with fortune cookies. I don't know if you've ever heard this, where you read the fortune and then you add some words at the end. And normally it's like, so here, let's look at your fortune again here. Normally you would add the words in bed. All right? So it would be creativity can solve almost any problem in bed.
I
right?
see.
And everybody has a laugh. So, but when I do fortune cookies, I always like to think at the Scrabble tournament. That's what I like to add at the end.
So we're going to try this out here?
Yeah, I'm going to open my fortune cookie.
Excellent.
And here we go. Here's the fortune. Here's what it says. It says, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently, at the Scrabble tournament. There you go. Quote by Henry Ford. All right, well, listen, Ken, it's truly been a pleasure.
Likewise. And
And-
great. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for
That's
taking the
tonight.
time to do this. So there we go. Good luck the rest of the way. We've got 17 games to go.
We do.
You had a big. You're in 20th place. So I'd like to see you move up the leaderboard.
Tomorrow's going to be a big day.
Very good. Okay, shake my hand. Let's wrap this sucker up and let's head off to the musicale.
Let's do it.
All right.